Hello there, world of tankers. Welcome to the channel. I'm your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, I'll be answering one of the most sought-after questions on the channel, and that is, Droodles, when am I going to be able to use my set license? When am I going to be able to use my tankers rings and get my hands on the free tier 8 that Wargaming promised me 3,000 years ago? When am I going to be able to get the new Tech Tree Type 5 Zetsu that was supposed to be released in Reforged? Well, I have good news. The next update of the game is confirmed to have all three of these things answered immediately. The set license on the next update is going to be usable, and that is huge. The set license is way better than you may even think. Basically, it unlocks any tech tree that you choose from tier 1 to tier 10. All the vehicles are automatically in your garage, and to what I'm aware, fully upgraded. Basically, you're just getting a free fast pass on the entire line. So if there is a line out there that you really don't want to grind, for example, the STB1, it's one of the best tier 10 mediums. It has great penetration, some of the best pen actually after the calibrated shells changes. It has great gun depression at 11 degrees. It looks amazing. It plays amazing. But grinding it can be a bit challenging. The Type 61, the STA1, the Chiri, the Cheeto, and the Chinu are all incredibly challenging vehicles, sacrificing armor for their guns. But honestly, the gun on the STA isn't even that impressive, and while the Chiri may feature very nice DPM, it has some of the worst penetration, so there are some things you have to keep in mind while grinding down the line. And because of that, using your set license on a line like this, something that you would normally probably stay away from due to how challenging or unenjoyable it might be, well, this makes your life a heck of a lot easier. And that would be my recommendation. I would use the set license on a line that you would not normally grind. If you're going to use it on a really good line, like let's say you use it on the Kron, well, every tank in the line is great. The Emil 2, the Emil 1, the Kron are all fantastic. So you don't really need to use your set license on a line that is very easy and manageable to grind. Use it on something like the CS63, where the 59, the 53, and the 44 are all pretty mediocre. Use it on the VZ55 or the TNH VZ51, the 1000, the VZ44-1 are all mid, right? That would be my recommendation, is to use your set license on a line that you normally would not be grinding because of how boring or unenjoyable the grind may be. Just remember that you would normally have to grind all these vehicles stock, so being able to skip them all, not have to use any experience or credits, is pretty dang huge. Now, I don't think the equipment is going to be unlocked, but even then, it is still pretty crazy how nice that set license is going to be, and you're going to be able to use all of this in the next update of the game. Some people even have 2 set licenses, which is pretty dang crazy. Not only that, but we also have confirmation that you are going to be able to use your Tanker's Rings to exchange for the Almus, which is a Tier 8 Blitz Nation medium. It's kind of goofy, but it's got a decent gun, decent armor, and overall doesn't look all too bad. That brings us to the final thing in today's video that I wanted to talk about, and that is the Type 5 Zetsu. The Zetsu, in my opinion, is a flat better Type 5 heavy. I mean, actually, if we go over to the Compare tab, we can really do the Type 5 Zetsu versus the Type 5 Heavy, right? So we scroll down, we can see the Type 5 Heavy, and we can also see the Type 5 Zetsu. And already, you'll notice that, well, Type 5 Heavy has substantially less DPM, right? If we put on the same equipment for both vehicles here, calibrated shells, enhanced gun lane drive, and refined gun, and we apply to all, you'll notice that you're substantially more DPM, about 300 more with the Zetsu. And when loading gold, we can see that both tanks also increase in damage, right? But again, you have about 300 more DPM in the Zetsu. So sure, you have less damage per shot at 590 versus the 800 on the Type 5 Collector, but at the end of the day, it still hits hard, and I'd much rather have DPM and a faster reload than, waiting almost 20 seconds. That is literally half the reload you have to wait in the Zetsu, and that's a big advantage. So in that regard, I definitely think the Zetsu is winning. The only real big advantage that you're going to have in the Type 5 Heavy is the high explosive, which actually gives you more effective DPM. And the standard rounds, that you'd be getting anywhere else. So that is something pretty nice. In terms of pen, both vehicles are the exact same on the standard, and you actually have substantially more premium penetration with the Zetsu than you do the base Type 5. In terms of the shell velocity, is also substantially faster, actually going up to 1,000 meters a second when firing the premium AP. You have more ammo, you have substantially better dispersion, aiming time, on movement dispersion. You even have 2 more degrees of gun depression, sitting at 10 instead of 8 degrees. You have more gun elevation. You have a top speed of 30 instead of 27, and sure, while you may reverse slower, it's a super heavy, you don't need to reverse that much in the vehicle. Not only that, but as we can see, the effective power to weight ratio is substantially better. Instead of being 9.2, it's 12.4. And if you're running engine accelerator, that's actually closer to 14. That is a shockingly good power to weight ratio. It turns faster on medium terrain, it turns faster on hard terrain, and it only has 50 less hit points. It even has substantially better camouflage. I mean, basically every single category, the Type 5 Zetsu is better. Even if we talk about armor, let's take a look at the Zetsu's armor first, and you're going to see that it genuinely has better armor. Let's get out your average tier 10 heavy. Let's get a, I don't know, an M6 shell. Let's put on calibrated shells. The Zetsu lower plate is 280 thick. Obviously, you've got weak points on the left and right, but generally, you're not able to cut through that lower plate unless you're loading gold. The upper plate is also upwards of 330, and the corner cutouts are even a bounce at literally a almost 90-degree angle. So you can angle this tank like this right here, and you're not going to be penned in the tracks, you're not going to be penned in the corner, you're not going to be penned really anywhere. So if you load gold, sure, the corner cutout becomes a problem, but even then, this isn't even running enhanced armor. The fact that this is that well armored on the corner, the upper plate, even the lower plate's upwards of 317. The turret, sure, it's got some weak points, but even then, I mean, this thing is substantially well armored, and you're going to be getting a lot of bounces with just how much sheer protection it has. Let's compare that to the base Type 5 Heavy. We take a look at this vehicle, and the Type 5 Heavy, if we put on the same tank, right, we go over to the M6 Yo, we're putting on Cali. First of all, the lower plate is actually slightly stronger with the Type 5, but it doesn't really matter because the moment you load gold, you're able to cut through. And you might say, oh, what if I angle it? Well, here's the problem. That right there. Your corner cutout is horrible. And the only way to make that corner cutout strong is going to make that lower plate a weak point. So that's the issue. Like, you literally cannot hide that corner cutout on the Type 5 Heavy. You just can't. If you even are at a slight angle like this, it's still only 316, which means you're going to cut right through it. So that's really your big problem. Sure, you might have better turret armor, but your hatch is actually larger and easier to hit, and that corner cutout seriously makes the Type 5 Heavy a substantially easier tank to deal with. Not to mention that the 2 degrees extra gun depression makes the Zetsu actually much harder to hit the hatch. You add that with the more mobility, the better gun, the substantially better DPM and accuracy. And yeah, why would you ever get your hands on the Type 5 Collector? My opinion, the Zetsu is going to be insane. It might even need to be nerfed when it gets released. My personal opinion, it should already be nerfed. That thing needs to have some sort of nerf in either the DPM department, the accuracy department, or the mobility department. But that's just my personal opinion. Either way, it's going to be one of the best tier 10s in the game, especially after these equipment changes, and I would definitely recommend to grind it. And all of this is coming in September in the next update for the game, which is pretty dang exciting. So hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you learned something new, make sure to smash that subscribe button. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.